Hey guys, it's WolfMaiden, and I know it's been a while. I just want to start off by saying all is well. I'm not ill, I haven't been ill. There was no health issues. I know in the past that I've taken a break because of that, but this time that wasn't the case. Instead, I just got busy at the end of last year and the beginning of this year with work and doing overtime and things like that. But I'm elated to be coming back and making videos. And I wanted to announce a couple of things. First, which is the most exciting, is that during this break that I took, me and Matt got engaged. So that's what I'm most happy about. And here's a close-up of the ring he gave me. That is the greatest news that I have to share there. All the other details are kind of just, little life bits there. But that stuff's boring, so I'll tell you the second most exciting thing is that I have a site test for the location I want to have my LARP at, and that's happening right now. So follow me. So one of the first things you notice in this video when I start talking is the sound of running water. And there is running water on this site, and I'm going to show that later, but first we're going to take a look at the lodge. The entrance basically has a full freezer and fridge. There's a freezer beside that fridge there that wasn't pictured. And we're just headed into each room, and the next one is the kitchen. For cooking. And after I was done joking around with Matt, we took a look at the rest of the place. I couldn't resist putting our foam swords up on the shelves there. I feel like they really look like they fit. So then we were checking out to make sure they had adequate bathrooms. And this one had 2 stalls here and was just central inside of the building so anybody could use them. I'm a huge fan of exposed wood in structures, and this place it looked so rustic and nice, and I feel like you can really get lost in a medieval fantasy theme here, so I was really digging the look of the entire place. And then we checked out the downstairs bedrooms, which also had an attached bathroom with 2 stalls. That was really cool. And attached to that bunk room, there was another one there that has access to a door that goes outside as well. So a little bit more freedom of movement there. Has its own area to hang things as well, and a fire extinguisher. And then I went ahead and took a look upstairs, which was really cool. There's a lot of bunks up here in this location. I'd like to think that for those who don't want to miss what's going on at a given time inside the lodge, will rest here. It's probably not for those who are light sleepers, but it's really awesome, and both sides have access to a balcony that you can step out on. And the view down below is really cool too. Makes for a great spot to take photos as well, if that's your thing. We were trying to find the light switch, so I had paused in the other area. We couldn't find it until later. It was right sort of in front of me there. And then when I was about to head down the stairs, then we got the light switch, so you can see this a little bit better with the lights on now. There's quite a bit of space here for a few people. The max amount of people that this place can hold is 58. It's just enough space to hold a really quaint little LARP. Ignore the stuff on the ground over there. I was trying not to get it in the shot. And then we went outside onto the deck. It's a nice little patio space there. And it's really got some really pretty views of Idlewild's forest. Absolutely gorgeous. The one problem that I kind of ran into, however, was that because this is sort of on the side of a mountain, there's not really many places for combat, unfortunately. But it really had everything else. It felt like this was the place for the concept I had in mind, which I will be revealing soon. I know I really kind of vaguely touched on the fact that I have a LARP, but I have a first set of rules, like a pre-alpha set, that sort of no longer are valid because there's some things I have to take out if I were to decide to use this lodge here. So next we're taking a look at that second building back there. That is where the rest of the bunks are, and there's also some attached bathrooms there. The terrain sort of lends itself a lot better, I think, to more like a hiking, outdoorsy type LARP. And I'm toying with different ideas, like hosting different types of games at different sites. So this one would be like an introduction to the concept. And then if we were doing more combat heavy stuff, we'd go someplace that can facilitate that kind of thing. So here's the rest of the bunks. These rooms are kind of, you know, if you wanted like a quieter spot, maybe there's less hustle and bustle. It's basically away from the noise of the lodge. You can kind of get more sleep if that's what you need, you know, or you're a lighter sleeper. It's probably better to stay in a room like this. But a majority of the other bunks are in here, it seems like. So there can be quite a bit of people for such a small site. The views in there were also really pretty. And I sort of started walking on the balcony here. And the next thing we're going to take a look at are the showers. There are showers on site, which is something that I think is really important. Showers and a place to sleep, that kind of thing for everybody. So the men's showers are there, and the women's showers are there. There is places to hang things up, places to put your shoes, all that kind of a thing, and a little shelf as well inside the stall. There is warm water. It is very nice after you hike and things like that. I only managed to really get one video while we were hiking, and this was it. Because there was an injury on the trail and there was a lot of chatter. We had the whole group go, 14, so it's very beautiful. Going back now to the beginning a little bit. This is the hill you have to come down to get from the parking lot. So it does kind of limit who can play if we do decide to go here. Overall, I'm at a weird position with this place because there's a few things that we're going to go over here on a grading system. My feelings about it are overall positive, so I would say it's about 7 out of 10 for how close or ideal it would be for the LARP. Before we jump into the grading scale, I'm going to show you guys some of the photos that we got at the lodge. I'm just using the ones with me and Matt. I didn't want to put other people's pictures up just in case they didn't want them to be. Shout out to Aisling and Jordan for these pictures. They really came out so well. Alright, and now we're going to start grading the site. I'm probably going to be proven wrong. I know that my 7 out of 10 is not really realistic with all of the things we have to take into consideration. So let's take a look here. So first we have parking, and while I didn't record the parking location, there wasn't really much space. For a place that's able to hold up to 58 people, it maybe had parking, maybe max, I want to say, maybe like 20 cars. So it wasn't very good. And that's really pushing it at 20. So I would say it's somewhere around 4 out of 10 for parking. So next up is the capacity that it could hold. I would say this is pretty much like an 8 or a 9 out of 10. I think for the concept that I have, 58 people is plenty. Probably more than enough. 50 people feels like it might be kind of crowded here. So yeah, I'm going to put like 9 out of 10. And so next up we have amenities, and this includes beds, showers, bathrooms, additionally kitchen, that kind of thing. So this place does score very high on amenities. I think 10 out of 10. There are showers, there's hot water, plenty of restrooms, and there are bunks for everybody to sleep on with mattresses. So there's no need to pitch tents, which is awesome. And then there's also a huge fridge and a huge freezer, and it can kind of accommodate if people need to bring their own food, if they have like dietary restrictions, that kind of thing. There's also heating. If you need to put the heater on, that works. Also has a fireplace where you can actually have a fire. So I would say it's 10 out of 10. So next up, the category is adhering to concept. And my concept does sort of happen to be a shared living space kind of situation. And it perfectly fits, I think, the lodge here. So I would say, with the exception of a few things that are kind of very visible, I would say it's like a 9 out of 10. So next on our list is affordability. So full transparency, site costs about I think it was $735, and that is for up to 30 people. And then after 30 people, it's an additional $30 per person. So it's pretty affordable, I think, and that's for a whole weekend. So I would say for affordability, I would say it's pretty good. It's an 8 out of 10. So last but not least, we have safety. And I'm actually going to have 2 different types of safety categories here. One is with physical combat and one is without. And I'll explain why in a little bit here. So the site is excellent for hiking, for outdoorsy things. If you stay on paths that are already made, which does restrict you a lot about where you're going, you're pretty safe. You should be all right, especially have the right gear. You make sure you're wearing boots, you're not wearing sandals, flip-flops, slippers, that kind of thing when you are outside of the lodge or the buildings. That being said, physical combat is nearly impossible here to do safely. There are a few sites that may be fine, like out on the patio, that kind of thing, but I've talked it over with those who also were helping me with the site test and figuring out if it was possible. I think this is probably a 2 out of 10 for safety with physical combat. The problem is I do have a rule set for physical combat that would make this site not viable for that particular set of rules. So I would need to go full parlor LARP for that physical combat, unfortunately. I think other things can take place. Story beats, quests that don't require physical combat, that kind of thing, can absolutely be set up all around site. It's just physical combat that would be a problem. So 2 out of 10 is my rating for safety with physical combat. So now we're going to talk about safety without physical combat. The site itself is very much a campsite that was meant for people who enjoy hiking. I think that that's something that can't be ignored. So with that in mind, this site is really great if you have the proper equipment. So you have boots, you know how to hike, or you're going to just stay inside for the most part and only really go around the site to go to a couple different spots. You're not really going to hike or anything like that. I think safety without physical combat is pretty fair. I would say it's 7 out of 10. You risk injury if you don't know what you're doing, if you're on the trails with the improper equipment, you're not paying attention, that kind of thing. So with that in mind, I would put it as 7 out of 10. It would be probably really difficult to hike with armor on, so likely armor is just set pieces, kind of what you wear indoors and around the site. But if you're going hiking, I think there would be a lot of restrictions, like you couldn't wear your armor on the trail if it's metal or something that would be over encumbering to you. The trail isn't super difficult to navigate. We all mostly navigated it fine. We did have an injury due to improper shoes, but other than that, there are some drops and things like that. So you really have to be comfortable with hiking. So I would say safety is about an 8 out of 10. If you stay inside, you still risk a little bit of injury from the rough terrain. 7 out of 10 if you are hiking. And there are some mechanics baked into the game that I modeled around sort of moving around hiking and things like that. So with that in mind, I would say the safety without physical combat is a 7 out of 10. So with all of these grades in mind, it is basically a high 7, not quite an 8. And I'm going with the worst of the safety without physical combat. I'm not including safety with physical combat because that would bring it down significantly. But it was already a mix of parlor LARP concepts anyway, because I wanted to make it viable with very few players, which I think could be a much more fun experience in a sense, because then everybody gets much more attention from the game masters and things like that. So overall, the score is a 7 out of 10. I really want to go to this spot for my LARP, but there could be better places out there. I have looked. I'm going to keep looking. But right now, this is the best candidate. It just kind of fits. And like I mentioned, I think before, there are possibilities of working around some of these things, like playing at this location when there's less physical combat content and sort of playing in seasons, if you will, or different games with different focuses on them while still being the same continuous game. So that's just something I'm toying around with for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this first look at the site test that we just had. I'm excited to announce some of the details about the LARP that I'll be running soon, very soon. I know I said that before, but it's finally really coming to the point where I can reveal some information. I didn't want to reveal information and then under-deliver, or the concept changed or something like that. But this is now officially in a pre-alpha stage. We're finding a location for a test, for an actual gameplay test, and this was the first one. So thank you guys for coming with me on this journey. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next video. Take care.